Welcome back to the Whiskey and Wisdom podcast. This next episode is part 2 of the Carolina Collective launch event. The host of this episode is Brittany Lineberry, co-founder of the collective, and Lee Norman, one of the educators on the platform.
So we just did a quick social media challenge, and this is kind of how I want to lean into this conversation. I want to pose a question to everybody in the room. How many of you as a business owner find it really hard to be consistent, to show up, or to even just have the bravery on social media? Are you raising your hand just because? You're a pro. It's so hard. Yep. Would you say it's an obligation of owning a business? Great. I love that answer. Yeah. It's something we can't do without, and we have to. It's a necessary, in my opinion, a necessary evil. I am sitting with Leah Norman. She runs Topsel Talk on Instagram. Are you on any other platforms actively
I'm on Facebook.
Facebook too.
Yeah.
So Topsel Talk, from what I have gathered over the past few months of really paying attention to what you do, she's been featuring local businesses in the Topsel and greater area in a very actively engaged in the community, physically present manner. And the charge that you've placed upon yourself with the Instagram is to promote other people in the community, not just yourself.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more, just so that everybody in the room can kind of understand what your mission is with Topsel Talk?
Right. So it started very organically. It wasn't a plan. I've always been a foodie. And so I used to always just do restaurants. But as it started to grow, and at first nobody cared. I remember probably the first major restaurant we did was Agave Azul, which everybody loves now. When it was being built, I remember walking into his restaurant, and Jorge, who was the owner, he looked at me and he was like, "Are you from Star Magazine?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "Who are you?" And that was perfectly okay. He didn't know who I was. You know, nobody did. Nobody cared. And it really just was about, I like going places. I'm already going to these places. I was already taking pictures. I just like showing where I go locally. But it expanded past restaurants and started getting reached out to other businesses, and there was never really any rules. And so all different types of businesses started reaching out and like, "Hey, can you come see us? Can you come see us?" And it was just, okay. And then because I just love people, like that's it. And I just like talking to people. I just naturally came up with different ways to spotlight a business. And then I would have an idea of, oh, I just want to talk specifically to the owner. Maybe one day I come in here and I'm at a coffee shop and I show you what I'm getting. But maybe if something organically happens to where an owner reaches out to me and we get to do something more exclusive. That's why you see such a mixture. It's just a mixture of different experiences that I have, whether it be me walking into one or whether it's like an actual collaboration. Yeah.
I love watching your collaborations too. Yes.
Yeah.
So you actually, we were standing out here and we just had a conversation, and she said, "Have you heard of such and such business?" And I was like, "No." And she goes, "How have you not heard of so-and-so that's in the middle of Surf City?"
Yeah.
And it's funny to me that maybe I thought that I was being served up all of these new businesses that were showing up in our area. Maybe I thought that the algorithm was doing its purpose and presenting these things to me that I should know about, but it's not always perfectly tuned for that. So we need to have people like her who are present in the community to bring awareness to these things. And so bringing her in today to talk about community as it relates to social media and how you can physically be present there and why it is so important. I'm going to lean into the coffee shop conversation for a second, because you guys do this beautifully, and you were just touching on this. If you own a coffee shop and you only post pictures of the actual cup of coffee every single day, we know, I've seen coffee shops that do that. They only post a cup of coffee every single day.
Yeah.
And we learn nothing about their business operations. We learn nothing about the community that they serve. We learn nothing about what it's like to physically be present in their place of business.
Yep.
So branching away from direct sales and reaching out into the community.
Right.
What do you have?
Because it leads to a direct sale for them. The thing is that even if you're not comfortable, and again, This was never about me. It's still not. But in order for people to care more, they did want to see me, which was hard for me because I didn't want to show myself. I hate the sound of my voice, but I know that people actually want to see her, Bridget, right? They want to see her face. And so when they see her and they see you talking to her, these are the things that people like to see. I noticed that the ones that performed more were when people saw my face, or if I'm talking to her and I'm like, hey, Bridget, what's your favorite drink? What is your favorite drink in Sundial? And I don't think you remember, but one time I asked you and you said that you love to keep it simple and you loved a caramel latte. I think that's what you said. And I still remember when you told me about how you love Haze IPA from like Salty Turtle. Like these are the things that people, and these are things I remember. Because I don't forget anything when it comes to people. So in the back of my mind, every single time I go and I get craft beer locally, I'm like, I remembered that she told me that she liked the Haze IPA. That's what I'm going to try. It's just a video of Bridget, who owns Sundial, saying she loves caramel lattes and she also loves salty turtles, that IPA of theirs. People love that. They want something real. They want to know, what it is that you like about this business. And it's pretty simple to me, but yeah,
She just said it's very simple to her. And the first time that somebody told me as a new business owner that I needed to be more present in my community, my brain immediately went to like, oh, volunteer opportunities. Oh, beach cleanups. Oh, big event. Oh, big commitments. And you do it on such a micro little doses every day.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
that makes it digestible. That makes it easier, these small doses of just
Right.
physically putting yourself out there. So what would you say are some of your, like, I don't know, maybe the three top ways that you microdose that, let's say?
So yeah, it really is just every day. Again, if you have a routine, I saw you posted about Salt Marsh Market. It was a couple weeks ago. So it really is just that. Hey, here's where I go. Every day. You are not going to be able to make every single event. We have tons of events. The Riverfest is just downstairs. I saw earlier. I didn't know there was the Riverfest. Okay, if you can't go, you can share it, right? So it's sharing local events, but you can't just be doing that. It's also, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I love. And just trying to be consistent. Yeah. And just showing, real parts of your life, in between. People just want something real. I know that there's got to be aesthetics. I'm not an expert. So there's a lot of things when I go to people's profiles that they look a lot more professional to me. I haven't mastered, like I told Joshua, I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not my profile does not look as curated. It doesn't look curated at all. It just looks like some mom going to all these places. It's not pretty. And I've gone back and forth with that. And I don't really have, that business mindset, those are things that I need honing on. But as far as, just it being authentic, that's kind of what I could say is like the main thing. Yeah.
I want to touch on two things you just said. One, about the authenticity. That's how you build your brand. So I'm going to go on and on for the next several months, probably, about building a brand and building an identity and discussing the personality around your business. But the more authentic, I deeply believe this, the more authentic that you are in how you voice your presence in the community, about how you talk about your business, the more likely you are to attract your tribe in the community that will become loyal to your business, but also loyal to the community that they're in spreading awareness about you and the business beside you and about the events. And it's loyal to the tribe. They're going to spread the word, but they're also going to give back to their community in that way too.
Right.
So there was another thing that you said that I'll come back to in just a second because I've kind of forgotten what it was. Oh,
I
yes,
understand.
I do remember. So you said Salt Marsh.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, it's really easy to self-promote, get out in the community for yourself. We forget, and I want to clarify what I think that you're saying here because I think it can get a little muddy. There's nothing wrong as a business owner in promoting the business that's next door as part of your brand and
Right.
your community.
Right. There's room for us all, because there are some people that don't like my favorite place. It doesn't take anything away from your neighbor that you're promoting them, or that, because I've talked about this a lot of times with Crystal. She's the owner of Topsel Insider. So when you're highlighting everybody, and it's really just about them. It's, there really is a space for every different business. There's a space for your podcast and their podcast. Everybody has, different preferences. So it really does help you both, and it doesn't put one other down, that you're talking about them in the same space.
And there's always a way to tether you together. So
Yeah,
just because they're not in the same line of business.
for sure.
So a boutique next door to your coffee shop, you guys
Yeah.
do cross promotion all the time.
Yeah,
Natalie promotes you all the time. Like
For
y'all
sure.
cross promote.
yeah.
And you're in some capacity could almost be considered direct competitors, but you found a way to like lift each
Mhm.
other up through that.
Right.
And you do it largely on social media. I mean, it's easy to happen if you let it happen and you let the friendships emerge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get out of thinking that, if you get out of that mindset, especially with the way the algorithm is now, I mean, you really almost at this point, you have to do collaborative posts in order to reach more people,
Yeah.
because it's tough. So you can share audiences. Yeah.
So let's get into a couple of very tangible things when it comes to social media, because I think that's the big beast that we all have to face. And it's something that this is my personal experience. And I feel like maybe somebody like Laura could relate. Laura's a watercolor artist. So she's very like waist deep in her work, and her phone is probably not always right there. When you're in your studio, like it's painting, right? And for me, when I'm actually in my photography business taking photos of people, I can't also whip my phone out
Yeah.
and be like, can I do this and this? I physically can't be in both places at one time. So do you have any tips for people for documenting their day or just being present on social media without feeling like it's such this burden, this extra
Mhm.
thing? Perhaps the community aspect makes it easier because it gives you something to talk about outside of your,
Right.
your actual skill set.
Right.
But what do you
Right.
think could make our lives easier?
First of all, Laura, your profile is so gorgeous. I went and looked at it a couple minutes ago. It is so breathtaking. It really is just a few seconds. So when Laura is working and when you are working, all you have to do, you are going to have to start remembering. But as you guys are working, whether it's you or somebody that can quickly grab just a couple of pictures and just do a couple seconds of video, what you're going to do is you can just create an album, and you're just going to use that to be like behind the scenes. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. You're not a filmmaker. You're just going to either post that to your stories or just do a couple seconds of video saying, here's what I've done today. Okay. Throw it to a trending audio. Find those little ways, again, just a few seconds every day to record. I don't know, you run errands. I can't even imagine everything that goes into printed hues. Whatever it is that goes into printed hues, get a couple of seconds of video from that. As an example, one of my clients, because I do social media management on the side, they have a nonprofit. This week, they're at a conference in Tennessee. They're an older couple. So they like talking to them. It's like a foreign language. All I told them to do is get a couple of seconds of video during the conference. I know that it's going to be hundreds of hours of content. It can be pictures. It can be video for me. I can put it in a reel. I can put it in a Canva. All I need is for them to shoot the video or whatever, take pictures and give it to me. And you can use it pretty much forever. So if you can just remember to do that. And people love candid. You're not always going to be, in your best outfit, in your, just try to do that a little bit every day. Just a little bit every day.
You said you could use it forever.
Yeah.
I've used the same photo as the background with just text on it over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And it's a reminder of something that Josh just said, like,
Mhm.
stop thinking that everybody cares about what you're doing so much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because it's the times when I've spent hours on a reel and it's like 300 views versus whatever video, probably the one I have pinned, it's of a beignet truck, 40,000 views. I mean, no effort. So there's something you have to. It's yeah, just do what comes natural and try not to put that much thought into it. You know, it's different if you're doing a project for someone, like how Josh was talking about when people want deliverables, but with I've tried to not stress out about it and just yeah,
Because people are not paying attention the way that we think that they are.
they're not. But most of the time if they see your face, they are because they're nosy and they do want to know what you're doing because they do love what you're doing. And they're like, when they see your face, they're like, oh my gosh, they are interested in that. They are. So, yeah.
Dirty kitchens, no makeup, kids running around in their diaper. It's like it's so real life.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm trying
know?
to get better at that. I'm personally not great at that. I'm like, my kitchen's a mess. My kid just has sweet potatoes down her shirt. And
Yeah.
like, is this really the time for me to put my face on here?
Yeah, it is.
And it probably
It's
is.
the time,
But
yeah,
I
to
talk
be like,
myself
hey,
out of it.
I'm getting on here, but I'm a little stressed. And I don't do that either. So when you're on Topsel Talk, you won't see many personal videos. Gosh, people are just so cruel. I really just keep it local. I'm so sensitive when it comes to my children, and people say the craziest stuff about your families nowadays. So I do a couple portraits, but that part I haven't let go of that. So I do understand that people are just yeah, yeah.
Well, so find your safety point, but also try your best not to care what other people think. Is
Yes,
the
do
bottom
be
line.
comfortable. Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with showing.
Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to we've kind of talked about the anxiety part of it, but let's
Yeah.
talk about the consistency,
Yeah.
the actual act of showing up. One of the things you said was get B-roll. We're going to call it B-roll.
Yep.
That you
Yep.
can use behind the scenes. It doesn't matter what it's of, what it looks like. It
Yep.
doesn't matter if it's directly related to the caption that you're going to post there with it. Keep it in an album.
Yep.
What is another very tangible thing that people can do to make their lives on social media a little easier?
Um, Also, make sure that you are supporting, other people. A lot of times we're so kind of centered on ourselves. It really is important to stop. You can't doom scroll, but you do need to, again, share what other people, have going on. Make sure that you are commenting and engaging.
Yes.
Make sure that when people are commenting and engaging with you, that you're, getting back with them and mix it up.
I
Yeah.
read, oh, I wish I could remember the source. I read, this is good. This is just good tactical
Mhm.
information that a meaningful comment on somebody's post that's doing well is 10 times
I heard that too.
more impactful than you posting an original
Yeah.
reel that you've done what you think is a very good job.
Correct. And I don't know if that's, first of all, I have no doubt that's true, but it just goes to show there really are no rules and you can make it your priority to have the most curated thing. But if no one, I remember when I totally stopped caring like about the numbers, totally stopped caring. And it's really about people like engaging with you. Do you have people, because if you're making great stuff and like nobody is commenting, it's really nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just goes to show that you've got to do a mixture of stuff and you can't have a tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to interact with me here, who is guilty of posting and ghosting? Posting and then disappearing. Again?
Which part of that you do have to do because you do need to check, but I mean, you can't sit there and I did have to get to where I let it go and I wasn't going back and I'm like, who's watched, who's commented? Like those days are over.
Yeah.
But you do got to come back. You got to come back. What if you had a whole bunch of comments and they're just sitting out there, So there's balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Balance. It's tough.
Okay. So I feel like if you don't mind, since we're talking about social media and everybody is always very curious about social
Mhm.
media, can we open it up for like a quick Q&A?
Sure. If anyone has
Does
any
anybody
questions,
have a tactical question that they just want
sure.
to pick Leah's brain about when it comes to social media? Go for it.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Nope. Nope. You do not have to post every day. But the thing is, you can go, there's so many people, like I said, I'm not an expert. You might go to someone's page and they say to post every day, but most of even like the experts I follow, they don't say you have to post every day. Whatever you post, like for you, if you don't only think you can post twice a week, then just do that. But no, I think that entirely too stressful to put that on yourself. If you can post every day and it's natural, like maybe you can post the stories every day. I kind of feel like everyone can do stories because at any time you can just show kind of like what you're doing. But like a hard post, maybe you can't do that. Maybe you can do every other day, but you just want to do something every every week.
At what point you guys manage your own
At
social
least
media?
twice a week.
You do it
Yeah, what do
yourself,
y'all
right?
do?
So, okay, this goes out to you
Okay.
because I know your case and I know Tennille's case. At what point, Leah,
Uh-huh.
should a business leverage out their social media?
I would say that's it's completely different for everyone. So one, if you absolutely just have no desire to do it, like if you have no desire to do it, you know, you know, but or let's say you've just gotten, so big to where like you just like you need help. So I think that it depends on one, the size, because I would never suggest that someone who was like just starting out, you know, you may not have made a dime and, "Oh, you need a social media manager." No, you just need some social media advice. I'm never here to take advantage of anybody, but, you know, you can go and get it. But I would say, yeah, like, if you don't have a desire to do it and if you can talk to someone and find out what someone can do for you, that'll work because that's different for every single business. If they can give you something that's affordable and something that'll work, I think it's definitely something to explore. But I really do think from talking to people, I find often so many times it is something that you can do on your own, but you just don't think it is. But there is a certain skill, like there is. I know from talking to people, I'm like, okay, yeah, they don't get it at all. They don't get it. And like that's okay. I guess I was just so busy. That's you? Okay, and Krista, yeah, I have like tried to walk her through what I think is so easy on Instagram, and I do know that it is a skill, but I had to accept that. Like I have a skill and I didn't feel like it was a skill. I just thought that it was natural. A lot of things in doing this I've had to accept that I didn't want to accept. People started calling me an influencer, like a local influencer, and I hated that. I was so offended because I'm like, I went to school for journalism.
Right.
I'm like, I'm just a mom. And if you're influencing people in any impact, that's what you are. It's okay. You just have to accept that. You're a podcasters. I'm assuming that you guys are considered influencers in Wilmington, right? Because you have a podcast. Am I wrong? You just have to own it. You just have to own it.
So we've just decided that we don't like the word.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because it has such a negative stigma. It has such a negative stigma. Right. 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 Did you end up outsourcing it? Okay.
If you'll repeat her question.
She's asking when you outsource social media management, she found it hard to find someone that was it got to be too much for her. And then when she went shopping around, the people weren't gonna have it look like them, which is very like salt of the earth. It's local. And I'm sure because I'm in groups with like social media managers and I know, they probably wanted more like a curated look. You kind of just wanted something. The only thing that I could think is just to get someone local, somebody who is not a part of there's people who like don't do it like me, who, it's kind of like a whole bigger, you know, thing. If you can find someone locally who like lives where you are and who is used to working with small businesses, that's what I would suggest. Like, there's people right now who I can think of on a local level who I know that just do it for, like, specifically small businesses, and they're kind of used to, like, working side by side with the owner like I am, like, from when I came on with Ocean City Jazz Fest. Like, I know these people, I love these people, you know, it's it's real, and that's different than if you outsource it, you don't know who these people are. So, yeah, I would suggest that you look for someone local, and because I know, like, local people who do, like, our yeah, local businesses.
Local who are very interested in understanding your brand
Right.
because
Right.
what you have is local,
Mm.
but it's very easy for someone who's helping like, for example, when I'm doing a branding photography package,
Uh-huh.
they're working with me because I have a style. So if somebody were to come to you,
Right.
it would be very easy for you to influence your style onto her business.
Mhm.
And
Correct.
what you have now is someone who's adding their own personality and character into your brand. And so to add to, I'm just going to piggyback off of what you were
Uh-huh.
saying, making sure that the person that you hire has a strong initiative to get to know your brand
Right.
and understand what you want and need out of it, and then take it to the next level on your behalf, including the task of taking, like, when I want video done of me, I can hold the camera myself or I can hire somebody to hold the camera for me, and it's
Right.
still me doing what I need to do
Right.
and getting my message out there. And then I say, you edit it,
Right.
you put it together. And I've had a couple people do this for me. Like, I not regularly scheduled like you, but sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to do it. This is too much for me. I'll film it and send it to you if you'll just do
Right.
yeah.
So it's communication is what I'm picking up on. Like, and
Yeah.
I, again, as somebody who is not like a polished, I like being told what to do. If you tell me what it is you want, I'm going to ask you because I want to do it right. So,
Yep.
yes, you want to work with someone who's open to, definitely listening to you and giving you, what you want. So,
Good question.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Authenticity at its core is going to be always the thing with social media. So,
Yes. Yes.
any other quick questions for the social media expert? Not influencer? She really has done a beautiful job of showcasing what Topsel is all about and featuring businesses while she's at it. So I feel like if I go to Topsel Talk, I understand a lot about the island. I understand a lot about the events, and I understand a lot about the personality of the businesses that are there. And I see a little glimmer of you too.
Oh,
And I
that's
love that.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sounds like what you want.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right. He's talking about consistency and the importance of that. And that is so true because consistency means people will trust you. So it's, hey, I came up to Talk So Talk and I haven't seen her post anything in a couple weeks. So basically, again, whatever you can do, you have to look at your plate. Okay. What am I realistically able to do every single week? How can I actually show up? And again, you're thinking, oh, twice. That's it. Because I can depend on seeing you twice a week, or I know, like, if I come to your profile, I see a lot of times I'll do that. I'll go to someone's profile and I'll see when's the last time they posted, like, what is their. So, or for instance, using Krista as an example, I know that her podcast comes out every week, once a week. I told Tyler that I love podcast. Like, I listen to podcasts all the time. One of my favorite ones is called The Read. I know every single Thursday their episode is coming out. So it's kind of like you have to pick how you can be consistent and do that and just be realistic. If it is every single day, God bless you. But if it's like 2 or 3 times a week, just try to, and it doesn't always have to be a video, like it could just be a still picture, but it will help you grow. It'll help you grow.
I think too far apart. Yeah.
Start
Yeah.
out once a week. Start out, start out, say, I'm going to post on Wednesday. If you do that, you will start posting more, but just not doing it at all, it's not an option.
Yeah.
It's not an option.
I'll I think I know too something else that Josh probably was hinting at, and then I'll close with this because we're going to run short on, we're running out of time here. But I did a shorty,
Uh-huh.
another shorty on accountability to yourself, and that's the low hanging fruit when it comes to this topic of consistency.
Yeah.
Accountability to other people that are counting on you to actually show up.
Right.
So I use the example of me actually going to my Pilates class. And when I go, I've got 3 girls that I'm really good friends with that go there, and they show up all the time. And I am not going to look by not showing up like I am falling short, can't hold myself accountable, look
Right.
like the fool that couldn't do it for her. It's like I don't take myself seriously.
Yeah.
So the low hanging fruit is just being accountable to yourself. Sure. The hard part to digest is that we don't care what people think, but we have to pay attention to what people
Oh,
think
yeah.
because it is how our business is going to thrive. And in the Pilates example, those girls need to know that I can take myself seriously enough to show up for the things that I promise myself I'm going to show up for.
Right.
And social media is another avenue for that.
Right. And it's easy to get burnt out. So it is, So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was
Thank you
beautiful.
guys.
Get on the school community. It's free right now. And before we leave, I'll accept your membership as free.
Love
It's
it.
free. And literally by the end of the day, you'll be in for a free membership today. So
Love it.
wonderful. Thank you guys so much.